Get a load of this, guys. Another Afghan national was arrested, this time in Texas. Now, reports are saying that he posted a video on TikTok of himself making a bomb and bomb threats. Very strange that all of this is happening so close together. I mean, it was just the other day we reported about an Afghan national who went to, as they said, he drove across the country to Washington, D.C., and shot two National Guard members. One of them has already passed away. That is Sarah Beckstrom, who is only 20 years old. And now they are reporting that an Afghan national in Texas was arrested 2 days prior to that incident in D.C. Very strange, isn't it? It's almost as if someone just pressed a button somewhere and it activated these guys. It's almost as if, and I'm telling you guys, look, yes, I believe in coincidences, but given everything that is taking place right now, I do not consider this to be a coincidence. I believe these guys were activated, and we're going to get into the details of this. Let's start with this first clip here. By the way, Fox News was the only one who reported this so far, and other news outlets are referring to the Fox News reporting. So I find that very interesting as well. Listen to this.
Well, this just in, we have a Fox News alert from Brooke Taylor. You won't believe this. DHS is confirming that an Afghan national was arrested Tuesday after posting a video of himself on TikTok indicating he was building a bomb with an intended target of the Fort Worth area.
Yeah, I don't believe it. Yeah, I don't believe you're telling the whole story. You know what I mean? Like, come on, guys. They're not even trying to hide it this close together. Excuse me, this close together. Like they are really, really trying to press this button. I'm telling you, they are trying to make you fear Muslims in this country. They're going to try to sell this narrative that we are under attack, that Americans are under attack from Muslims. And why Afghanistan? We're going to get into the details about that in just a couple of minutes, about what Donald Trump said in September of this year about Afghanistan. Let's continue.
Mohammed Dawood Al-Okazai is charged at the state level with making a terroristic threat. According to DHS, listen to this. He came to the United States as part of Operation Allies Welcome. So here you have it. This happened Tuesday. Texas Department of Public Safety. This is a second Afghan national, second one this week, Operation Allies Welcome. He had a terror plot. We know it comes the same week that deranged individual, that alleged assassin, took out two of our heroic National Guard, came here on the same program, Operation Allies Welcome, a program that we were assured time and time again by Mayorkas, by Jen Psaki, by Joe Biden himself was safe and secure. But here we have a second data point in 1 week that it was not safe. It was not secure. And we've got to look very hard at this program as President Trump is vowing to make change. We will give you all the details as they come. New reporting in from Brooke Taylor.
And notice what she said there at the end. They have to take another look at this program. In other words, what that means is that they're going to have to take another look at the immigration policy and how these people were vetted. Now, we already told you that the previous suspect from D.C. was approved for asylum under Donald Trump's administration this year in April. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to say this is all the fault of the Biden administration. And as I told you guys before, look, there are many criticisms of Joe Biden and his administration, which I have been talking about for a number of time, on this channel when he was president. But Joe Biden is not president anymore. Donald Trump is president. So only for so long can they continue with this narrative. This is all because of the Democratic Party. Reality here is, folks, we know, like, if we look at the history of this country, we know that there was, yes, different operations that have happened via the deep state. We know about MK Ultra. We know how they experimented on people right here in this country. And I don't want people to forget about that. Make sure you hold on to that. There's a little bit more information here. Again, I want to show you, look at who was reporting it. It was Fox News. I also find it very strange that this arrest happened last Tuesday, but it was not, they didn't report it. This happened prior to the DC attack. So why are you just hearing about it now? And if you go back to what she said it was the Department of Homeland Security, which of course is under the Trump administration. Don't anybody find it strange that this guy was arrested last Tuesday, but they didn't tell you about it? It's almost as if they're going to look and search for things now to prove their point, to get their point across that we are under attack. Here's another one here again. Fox News, the only one. Listen to this.
An Afghan national now facing terroristic threat charges after he posted a video saying he was building a bomb with Fort Worth, Texas, the intended target. Christina Coleman joining us live with the latest on that story from the Southland. Christina.
Hi, Kevin. Yes, DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin says just one day before the terrorist attack against the National Guard in Washington, D.C., another Afghan national who was paroled into the U.S. under Biden's Operation Allies Welcome program was arrested for threatening to blow up a building in Fort Worth. Authorities identified the suspect as Mohammed Dawood Al-Koze. DHS says he's accused of posting a video of himself on TikTok indicating he was building a bomb intended for the Fort Worth area. Fox News' Brooke Taylor reports that he was arrested on Tuesday by the Texas Department of Public Safety and FBI in a coordinated law enforcement effort.
So he was arrested also by the FBI, but Kash Patel didn't know about this? Like the incompetency of this administration. Jeez Louise.
Koze was paroled into the U.S. in September of 2022. He had been admitted as a lawful permanent resident. Also this week, President Trump called for a reform of the country's immigration vetting process following the attack on the National Guard troops on Wednesday, which involved a suspect who was also paroled into the U.S. under Biden's Operation Allies Welcome program.
These are people, I'll show you this in a second as well. These are guys who fought alongside with our CIA in Afghanistan. They fought against their own people. As we told you before, Ramanullah, he was recruited when he was 15 years old. So again, we talked about that early programming. So we have to remember that and why they were given refuge here in the United States. They fought along the CIA against their own people in Afghanistan. And then, of course, afterwards, they were considered, they were threatened, of course, in their own country. So they were given, refuge here in the United States because they worked with us. It is absolutely insane. What these reporters should be calling out is the deep state. They should call out the CIA. They should say, hey, I don't know, maybe we should not be training people as hired guns to go kill their own people. But you're never going to hear them say that because that's not what they're paid to do. Right now, they are paid to make you afraid. That's what they're paid to do. Who does it benefit? Always ask yourself this question. Who does it benefit at the end of the day? It benefits the U.S. government and it benefits Israel. It benefits that relationship between the U.S. and Israel. New polling does not look favorable for Israel at all.
Look, this is how they come in. This is how they're standing on top of each other. And that's an airplane. There was no vetting or anything.
Such a lie.
DHS says about 85,000 Afghans settled into the U.S. under Biden's Welcome Allies program. Sean Van Driver, the president of Afghan EVAC, says vetting was conducted, but again, a review of the vetting process will take place. Now, as for the suspect in Fort Worth, ICE has lodged a detainee on him, and he was charged at the state level with making a terroristic threat. Kevin?
So they realize they can't make Americans afraid of Palestinians. That doesn't seem to be working out. So now let's go back to Afghanistan. Let's make them afraid of Afghans in this country. And why Afghanistan? let me show you something. Someone sent this to me. And of course, shout out to the individual who sent this to me. From ML Corvidel. They sent this screenshot. September 2025. Trump says bad things will happen if Afghanistan does not return Bagram Air Base. This was reported by Reuters in September. You know, it kind of went right past me, to be honest with you. By Katherine Jackson and Phil Stewart. September 20th, 2025. Bad things will happen if Afghanistan does not return Bagram Air Base. What kind of bad things? Look at what's going around, folks. It's almost if it was really right there in plain sight. President Donald Trump on Saturday threatened bad things would happen if Afghanistan does not give back control of Bagram Air Base to the United States and declined to rule out sending in troops to retake it. If Afghanistan doesn't give Bagram Air Base back to those that built it, the United States of America, bad things are going to happen, Trump said in a Truth Social post. He said that the U.S. has sought to regain control of the base used by American forces following the attacks of September 11. He told reporters that on that Friday that he was speaking with Afghanistan about it. So, first of all, let's talk about this. And you guys know how I feel about this. The U.S. should not have bases in Afghanistan or any other country. We talked about this before. The U.S. has been basically policing the world. You can't just come into these people's countries, put up a base and say, okay, like we're watching you now. Then there is the war in Afghanistan. 20 years in Afghanistan. What was accomplished from that war? People are asking, why are there Afghan nationals in the United States? Again, that's the wrong question. But to answer that question, because of what we did in Afghanistan, we destroyed that country. There's no other way to put that. A 20-year war. And what was gained from it? A lot of people died, including American soldiers also died in Afghanistan. There was starvation crisis in Afghanistan. When Biden was in office and he decided, okay, we're going to pull the troops out of Afghanistan, a lot of reporters didn't cover what was happening during that time in Afghanistan and what happened after that, which was that there was a starvation crisis in Afghanistan. We go into these countries, we steal their resources, we kill their people, and then the people there are worse off than they were before the intervention. And I've said this over and over again. There is also opium in Afghanistan. Yeah, Afghanistan has resources. The U.S. government just doesn't go into a country that doesn't have anything and say, hey, I think we need to start some war around here. So the people have just been, the intervention in Afghanistan, the 20 years, it ruined that country. And the people have been left in despair. Now Donald Trump wants to reactivate that base in Afghanistan again. Why? Why would the president of so-called peace, which people continue to say, which is ridiculous, why would he want to reactivate a base in Afghanistan? What is going on? Everyone needs to pay attention and call him out on this ridiculousness. A lot of us, I believe, nowadays are anti-war. And if you're anti-war, if you want these wars to stop, you shouldn't be calling for reactivating any U.S. military bases and obviously not implementing any new military bases. We shouldn't have military bases all over the world. This is absolutely insane. And I say that as someone who came from a military family. I'm here to tell you it is wrong. Imagine if another country had all of their bases in the United States. Imagine if China or Russia had bases in the United States surrounding us. How would you feel? So what is this really all about, folks? What's really going on? And I'm going to tell you, we're going to have to look at the geography in just a second. because I think I know what the plan is. But I want to take you back to when Afghan nationals were brought into the United States. This was during about 2 years ago, this video. Texas Congresswoman helps free jailed Afghan soldier who fought alongside U.S. troops during the war. So again, there were many of them that fought alongside with the United States. Listen to this, just to take you back.
Now, it's a story you first saw on KPRC2. Today, an imprisoned Afghan troop who fought alongside U.S. soldiers against the Taliban is going to be reunited with his family.
Our KPRC2's Zach Lashway joins us this morning with more on the call for help that was answered. Zach.
Sophia, good morning. It's a remarkable story of sacrifice and determination. A man not American risked his life for our country. And this afternoon, he will be reunited with his family after spending the last 4 months detained.
This is my brother. Okay. He worked as a special force officer.
The call for help came last month when Sammy Safi reached out to us, hoping we could help his brother, Abdul Wasi Safi, an Afghan troop who fought alongside U.S. soldiers against the Taliban during Operation Enduring Freedom. Wasi was left behind when the U.S. pulled out of Afghanistan, and to avoid persecution, Wasi fled to America seeking asylum. But he was detained crossing the Texas-Mexico border. We reached out to Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, who wrote to the White House asking for Wasi to be freed.
I indicated that this was a national issue. This is not something that we want to go unattended, and that this young soldier was fleeing for his life.
It worked. Jackson Lee announced Wasi will be freed.
He was fleeing for his life. Why was he fleeing for his life? Because he fought alongside with us against his own people. And that is why they are here. So people always need to remember that. And a lot of people, they want to point and say, oh no, they shouldn't be here. Why are they here, etc. But they don't want to get into the meat of it, like I just did, to show you why they were here in the first place. Now, I said, it seems though to me, someone came along somewhere and they decided to just push a button and activate these guys. And I really do feel like something is afoot here. Something is afoot. They are really trying to make you fear Muslims in this country. And if that means that they have to implement these false flags, these quote unquote attacks to scare you, then they will. In fact, Alex Jones of all people, and again, I never thought I would show video from Alex Jones on this channel, ever thought that. Alex Jones of all people was given a heads up about that. He was given the warning about this after that arrest in DC. Listen to this.
2 weeks ago, on my syndicated broadcast, General Flynn, the former head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, predicted that in the coming months or even weeks, the deep state CIA elements allied with the Democratic Party with communist China, Venezuela, and others would begin triggering sleeper cells inside the United States, particularly Islamic.
Now, let me pause here. So, of course, he says the Democrats. It's not the Democrats. The deep state is not linked to one particular party. People have to really understand this. It's not China. It's not Russia. But the part here that I think you should hold on to is intel. It's the intelligence agencies, whether it's the CIA, the NSA, etc., implementing sleeper cells to activate people. So the problem here with Alex Jones is that he still wants to put the blame on the other party. This is not something that's unique to one party. Intelligence agencies operate under both parties. And honestly, at the end of the day, they don't really give a damn what party is in power at that point in time, as long as the mission, their mission, is accomplished. That's what it really comes down to. So he's still stuck in the whole, it's that side and not our side thing. Maybe one day he will fully wake up and see things for what they really are, especially when it comes to foreign policy. But the deep state in particular, the CIA, the NSA, etc., Israel, the Mossad, all of this together, they work together to accomplish their mission at hand. It was a while back, I showed a video on this channel of a guy who used to work with the CIA, and he was talking about, this is back in the 70s, he was talking about how they would even pick articles. They would decide what would be reported in the news. Like back in the day during that time, after he left, he said that they were picking headline stories. They sometimes would create headline stories. Look it up, Google it, look it up on YouTube. It's a video from the 1970s. I can't show it on here again because it has copyright, but look that up. So he's still stuck in the duopoly. It's not a duopoly thing. It's not. And once people start to realize that, then they'll see what's really going on.
I'll post the interview below. He was on my broadcast yesterday and pointed out that all the evidence is clear. We've also had whistleblowers that have talked to Jesse Waters and others at Fox from inside the CIA, that this whole program with the seditious six and the script they admit they were given, Brennan's the handler, former head of the CIA, from my analysis, this whole operation they've been running of saying, implying Trump's putting out illegal orders, is ahead of major events to destabilize the United States with different paramilitary forces. And then when Trump tries to call it the military, the corporate media would already pre-planted the idea that his orders are illegal. This is sedition. This is the prep phase for a violent coup. And I've been predicting it along with General Flynn as well.
So again, he's still stuck in the partisan part, but he had part of this right, which is that, yes, the deep state can activate sleeper cells. So that would be the intelligence agencies, right? Yes, Trump's orders are illegal. It is okay to say that. And Alex Jones, you need to get out of that, whatever that cult is that you're a part of, that just constantly defends Donald Trump to no end. And then you'll start to see things for what they really are. But yes, again, we have seen these things happen before in this country. Like I said, don't forget the MK Ultra experiments. So what I believe is happening, and let me pull this up here. I want to show you this map. What I believe is happening is this. I believe that they are trying to, in some way, shape, or form, there's the Israel piece. We'll get back to that in just a second. They're trying to initiate some type of conflict with Afghanistan again. Why? Let's look at the map. If you look at where Afghanistan is situated, so we have Iran. Afghanistan is right next to Iran and Pakistan. In between Iran and Pakistan, imagine that, right? Because, of course, the U.S. government, both parties despise Iran. They see them as a threat to Israel's greater plan. And they're also not happy with Pakistan. Remember, they came in and they kicked Imran Khan out of office and jailed him because he didn't want to take a position on the Russia-Ukraine war. Let's not forget that as well. But if you look at Afghanistan, what do we see very close to it? China. Let's go in a little bit further here. China, Afghanistan, and Pakistan are very close to China. We come out a little bit closer here, you can see it. So it's almost as if I were to make a prediction, it almost kind of feels like the U.S. wants to have some type of issue with Afghanistan again. And we already know they have an issue with Pakistan, so that they can kind of make their reasoning for coming in to take over Afghanistan again, so that they can make their way right here, ding, 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 to China. They're right there on China's border, right there. Now, let's go back to this article here where Trump says bad things will happen if Afghanistan does not return the Bagram Air Base. So again, if you're done with Afghanistan, you're not trying to go back into Afghanistan, you don't want to send soldiers back there, and you don't want to have any more wars, which we know is a lie with Trump as well. Why do you need to reactivate that base? Why do you need that base back? So that you can keep an eye on what their neighbor right here, China, is doing? Is that why? You see, it's never just part of a small plan, it's part of a bigger plan. And then there's the other issue with Israel. Israel wants to accomplish this greater Israel project, which would also include Syria, parts of Syria, part of Jordan, even part of Egypt, even though Egypt tries to pretend like this ain't a thing. There was parts of Saudi Arabia in that. In all, don't forget, Israel wants Iran gone as well. Benjamin Netanyahu called Iran the curse. Benjamin Netanyahu said we would have a blessing if Iran wasn't there in the way. So the greater Israel project would actually also include Iran as well, taking over all of this, Iraq, Iran, and bing, 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 there's Afghanistan. They would be a problem too for them. They want all of it, all of it. So everybody needs to pay attention to what's going on, folks. And the polling shows you the big problem here for Israel. Shout out to Drop Site News for this one. Sympathy for Israel has collapsed to a historic low, according to a new poll by Big Data Poll. Only 29.1% of voters now side with Israel, while 21.4% back Palestine. Support has fallen sharply from 54% peak measured after October 7th. And I'll show you that graph. Democrats lean towards Palestine 31.9% versus 17.1%. Independents split almost evenly. Young Republicans from ages 18 to 19 now favor Palestine 33.4% to 27.9%. That's a big change. America First voters, 25 to 29, show the starkest break. 40.8% sympathize with Palestine. So I thought this was interesting. I'll show you the graph here. I thought it was interesting considering they said America First voters as if that's a separate party. It's not. So I thought that was interesting. Maybe that's a sign of something to come. Who knows? But these are the people that I would imagine supported Donald Trump, voted for Donald Trump because of his America First agenda, and now have said, no, F this guy. This is ridiculous. We are just America First. So something could be happening there. But here's the graph here. So this is interesting. This is interesting. Among registered voters, 29.1% support Israel. This is a historic low for Israel. I wish it was lower than that, but this is historic. Republicans, 47.1% support Israel. That's not even at 50% anymore. Democrats, 17.1%. Independents, 20.1%. But here's the kicker, folks. That 18 to 19-year-old, the young Republicans, only 27.9%. Most of them now support Palestine at 33.4%. And America First, ages 25 to 29, only 24.5% support Israel. This big shift here, 40.8% support Palestine. That is very, very telling. Things are changing. Again, it's not necessarily as much about the Democrats, right? Because Democrats are more likely to break away if any other party, right? If you were to compare them between the Republican Party. But what was not supposed to happen is that you were not supposed to have conservatives break away from Israel in that way, shape, or form. This is a big deal. Pollsters say the GOP's populist wing is driving the shift. Younger Republicans identifying with the America First strongly reject Israel's war. Among America First Republicans age 18 to 29, 52.9% say Israel's actions in Gaza amount to genocide, compared to 29.2% who disagree. That's the most latest poll. They know. So here's something to think about. If I saw that poll, if Dropsite News saw that poll, then you can damn sure bet that Donald Trump saw that poll. And you can damn sure bet that Benjamin Netanyahu saw that poll. So things are changing. They don't like it. And honestly, folks, this could be the shift, the break that we're looking for. There is already a candidate running against Randy Fine, who's a Republican, but is in not support of Israel. There is already, we brought on Jose Vega multiple times on the show. Jose Vega is running as a Democrat in the primary and then an independent in the general. He's running against Richie Torres. And then there's, both of them are a part of AZAPAC, which I talked about before on the show, which is a PAC to challenge AIPAC, to get AIPAC out. I never thought I would have seen this before in my life, you guys. So there is change that is happening. And I really do believe that the deep state is trying to fight back against that change by implementing or initiating these attacks that you've seen recently this past week. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.